Hello, uh, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. I don't need to tell you the date and time as long as I continue to use this program. Um, this is going to be 30 minutes. I'm going to limit myself to 30 minutes. And I don't really have any real content for this. That'd be a good idea just to go ahead and move on to someplace else. I think what I'm going to do, but I'll probably get sidetracked, knowing me, uh, give you some ideas for what I'm planning on doing and how I'm hoping to do something. So, what I want to try to do is, which a lot of you have told me, and I know a lot of you haven't told me, but I know that, and that's that you want me to make my videos shorter, and that you also want my videos to be on a subject. So you can tell by the title or whatever, hey, this is about a review of a keyboard, or this is about a microphone, or something like that. And you don't want these things mixed together. And I'm tempted to say, but I know I wouldn't be able to do it because I don't want to go back and have to listen to a video that I made and index it. A lot of YouTubers have, below in the description, it'll tell you, okay, at such 15 minutes, I'll be talking about such and such a book that's out, and then at 25 minutes, be talking about a video that I saw at the movie theaters, or something like that. I don't think I could do that because I think I would have to go back and listen to myself and watch my video, and that would be purgatory for me, and I'm probably going to have to go to purgatory. Not have to, but will have to go to purgatory, so why should I do it twice to myself? So I'm intending to keep the videos short and on a subject. Now sometimes the subject may be I'm just going to go to CNN's front page and see what's on there and maybe comment on whatever that subject is. But I guess I'll try not to do it too long when I go pick on a subject. More or less just, hey, here's what's available. And you may want to check something out. I'm using Manicam again. Many of you will be disappointed if you're OBS users and that type of thing. But it works for me. It's simple. I guess I should put links to it below. In fact, I'm signed up, I think, but I've never put a link. Well, I put a link to it, but I've never put the link that if you went there and then you purchased it, that I would. I do hope. Okay, that's not showing up. And that's not showing up. Well, Manicam let me down there. I think I can jump to and turn that on. Let's see if I can do that without crashing this thing. Time, let's see. Titles. Ah, okay. There you go. I do wish I could get you to use the link that takes you to, of course there's a number of them, but that takes you to Amazon. I wish you would, copy that and maybe paste it on your, browser or on your desktop so you could go there. Because I've got 3,500 subscribers. And if just a small number of you, when you're going to go shopping or even looking at, you're going to go look at Amazon, if you would just use that link and go there, that would could make a world of difference to me. You know, it might be $100 a month, you know, 150, 200 a month. No telling, you know, but that time I had that set for 60 seconds, by the way. So, I'd sure like for you if you could try to think to use that link that's from Amazon. From Amazon, and I've showed you before on a video. I'm not going to do that now because I'm 5 minutes into this video. I have shown you how much I make from Amazon and from YouTube, and it is basically nothing. And I'm not even counting the fact that I purchase items. I don't even count that. I mean, you know, I spend a lot of money getting items. If I wasn't doing this, but I enjoy doing it. I've been doing something like this my entire life, really. You know, I was streaming video before there were, you know, I had a computer before, years and years before most people had a computer. I've just done a whole bunch of stuff, and I've enjoyed doing it. I put out a number of publications. I'm in a book, I think a couple, I'm in a book on the history of shortwave radio or something like that, written by a guy, and I'm in there multiple times. I volunteered for a lot of things. I was in civil defense and the Ground Observer Corps and all kinds of things. I reserve police officer, you know, for years and years. I patrolled every Sunday night. Now they used me other times, but I patrolled every Sunday night for years and never missed patrol. You know, even at first we had no police officers. Then eventually they had a police officer on the night shift, and when that happened, I would stay over. So he, you know, when I came on at like 7 p.m., I was by myself, you know. And then when he would come on at midnight, you know, to work an 8-hour shift or something like that, you know, midnight to something, I would stay over many hours into his shift so that he had a, you know, a backup officer he needed one, stuff like that. So I've done a lot. I was in head of Project C of the, let's see, MIT's Office of Satellite Scatter or something or other. I headed up Research Group C, and we did monitoring for when the United States shot a whole bunch of little tiny needles up in orbit, millions and millions of things up in orbit. There was a lot of scientists around the world that said, don't do that, you know, and they're not sure what would happen, you know. And then the United States also detonated a nuclear blast or whatever in outer. I monitored for that along with other people. You know, I set it up. So I've done a lot, and there's a lot of subjects that I'm interested, you know, in. I just wish I was smarter, but anyway, it keeps me busy. But but if you could, please use that link. Now that link actually takes you to, of course, it takes you to Amazon, and it takes you to a page that I have the ability to put some stuff on. I haven't been there in years, and I do need to go in and ads, but the purpose of that link is not for you to go and buy a specific item or whatever. It's just to get you there. Once you go there, as you're looking around Amazon, if you purchase something, I will get 1 to 3%, which does not cost you anything at all. They don't take 1 to 3% out of, you know, they don't raise the price 1 to 3% or something like that. And there was one time I got, which was remarkable, I got, because I have shown you, you can see nothing for months, you know. There was one time I had from Amazon, I think it was like $70 came from Amazon. And wow, that was a lot of money to me because, you know, I'm living on Social Security and a small check for $75 a month for how many years? 17, forget how many years now. Maybe it was 18 years working for one hospital. But anyway, if you people could just use the link to go there, if people would, you know, it could, with 3.5, that's just 3,500 subscribers. That's not the number of people who come and look at my videos, you know. That subscribers is just somebody who came and clicked, you know, subscribe because they want to get a notice or because they know people like you to, you know, because a lot of YouTubers say, please, you know, click on subscribe, you know. But what I will try to do when I get a chance is go to the, oh, okay, what I wanted to tell you was, you know, when you use that link and it takes you to YouTube, you don't have to buy what's on that page. In fact, I don't even know what's on the page. I'm supposed to maybe add some stuff, and I will when I get around to it. I don't like doing I like doing this, creating some content and stuff like that. I don't like going in and messing with pages. I did that. I had, for years and years, a WordPress, you know, thing that I posted to every day, the way I'm doing now, you know, with videos. And I had other things long before that. There was just about everything like that. I can't think of all the names of them, but the sites that were like diaries or like a WordPress thing, except before WordPress site. I have sites now that they're still, the content is still there. I can't remember the one that I liked a lot. Can't remember the name of it now, but it's still there. My data is still there. And to a lot of the things over the time that I signed up for, you know, way back when they came along, they you know, that's what I did. I think I was getting that way. I'm in a book about shortwave radio communications, written by, I think he did 2 volumes. I didn't buy well, I think I bought, the books were kind of expensive. The volume about the later years, I'm in it, in multiple pages in there. And so I do like, I'm bad at note taking. I'm not good at, maybe that's why I don't do a script. I've got a whole bunch of notebooks here. I mean a whole bunch. I think one time I drug them out so you could see, you know, I have notebooks. And I put stuff in there, but it's not organized. It needs to be organized in, so it's, you know, it's just on a paper. I will write down the monitors that I have with their number, and then with the information about them, you know, resolution, you know, stuff like that. So when I'm putting a new monitor, hooking up or something, I have that, but I have a hell of a time finding it, you know. But one thing I want to do, let's see, we're only into 15 minutes, and I think I'm covering some things, but maybe it's not worth it. What I want to do is, because back in the 1970s, I was working hospital security, and I worked for this guy who was director of security, and he was very smart. and I worked for him for about 5.5 years, I think, and it was all arranged there at that hospital that I was to move into. Like, for me, that would have been a dream. It was all on my merit reviews, on my merit review, that when an opening became available in the biomed department, that I was going to get that slot. The guy that was in charge of the biomed department, whatever, I had interviewed with him, and he said, "Jim, I want you to," and I said, "I don't have a degree in, you know, biotech or anything like that, or electronics school." And he said, "No, your computer stuff," he says, "that's what we need. We need somebody in the department that's going to, do the filing." And so I was all scheduled to go, and it was actually a matter of days, or maybe a matter of a week or two, and I was all scheduled to go. And then after working for this director of security, who I actually liked, who was racist, and I definitely wasn't racist, and we definitely crashed over that. But I actually liked the guy. But I couldn't understand some of the things that he did. And he was smart. I just couldn't understand it. With the appearance of Donald Trump, and with the books and stories and psychiatrists and people like that that had been interviewed about Donald Trump, what's wrong with, and then it was like, oh, wow, this guy who I worked for, who was very smart, and some of the characteristics that he had, and then Donald Trump, some of the characteristics he had, of course the opposite. Donald Trump is one of the most stupid people I have ever, especially somebody who, has had, success in television, and he hasn't had success in business. He's gone bankrupt repeatedly, every time he's gone bankrupt, and bankrupt as president too, But, so I had these two characters, the one that I worked for years, and I kind of liked him. I liked him. And then when the Donald Trump information came about Donald Trump, it was like, oh my God. That's the guy that I worked for. Although Donald Trump's stupid, this guy I work for, very smart. But the same things. Like, and I want to do sometime, but I don't have enough information about it, because I want, like, the names. I probably won't be able to pronounce them, But I want the name of the thing for whatever's going on in this person's brain, And I won't be able to understand it or whatever, but I want to be able to say, look, look at this. But remember the 1970s, I worked for this guy, director of security. And that's when I was scheduled to go in the biomed department. I could not make it as director of security. After all that time, 5.5 years, and good times and bad times for him, unfortunately. Because it's just amazing the bad decisions that he made, and he was convinced. But anyway, what I found out just recently, and it's disturbing to me, Mr. Ross passed away. What I'm finding out is things that I thought that happened during the time that I was working for the director of security, Mr. Ross. There's things that he told me, and then I found, things that like, why would you lie about a thing like that? I mean, and by the way, I'm, for some reason, very, very honest. Of course, there's some things, you can't be honest about, marriage, divorce, and that, that kind of stuff. But not that I ever cheated on my wife or anything like that. But there's some things, that are private. But here I thought, like, back in the past, working at that hospital. I'm watching the time, by the way. One of the things that each shift did is we checked fire extinguishers and standpipes and things like that. We had a check off list, and we checked the tag on the fire extinguisher and what have you. And there was other things we did a lot. And the shift that I was a supervisor of, we checked the second floor, I think it was now, and that's where plant operations was. And we didn't go into, security could go everywhere, well, except pharmacy. But I mean, I've gone into pharmacy before I needed to go into pharmacy. I went into pharmacy, But in general, you could go everywhere if you're security, of course. And, but anyway, I didn't go into plant operations a lot, unless, something had come up or something. But there was a guy on the evening, he was by himself, worked the evening shift in plant ops, and we had been told that, be careful. This guy is mentally unbalanced, and the hospital is worried about him, and be very careful. And we don't want anything, to happen. And so anyway, I was checking the fire extinguishers, which was that we did it every. I don't think we did it every. We didn't check those fires. Well, normally when you're making your security, you're there's in the case or whatever. Yeah, I checked them every time I went by, or if I went someplace and like there was somebody I was kind of keeping an eye on or whatever, I would just go. I'd actually be doing it, but I'd be doing it just so the person would not know that I'm paying attention to them for some reason, stuff like that. But so I went into the plant ops to check the fire extinguisher on that level of the hospital, because we did 2 or 3 levels and the other shifts did 2 or 3 levels and so on. But I went in, and then he told me that the plant ops guy, who was unbalanced mentally, but in a way, I think if you left the guy alone, if you didn't go in there, whatever, but or have any other type of a, But I went in, and he told me I shouldn't, that I had no right to be, that I couldn't be there, and I said, no, security can go. We can go everywhere in the hospital. I have to check these, things or whatever. And he said, no, you have to have a Boilermaker's license. And I didn't say, well, because I really didn't have a Boilermaker's license, an engineer's license or something, but I was a member of the Boilermakers, union for years and years, but I didn't, I just tried to cool everything, well, I'm just checking these fire extinguishers, we got to do it. Our boss makes us do it whatever, and it's on the check-off list here, and I have to check. And then he was still yelling and hollering at me. And so anyway, I did what I needed to do, and then left a note for the director of security that, what had happened, how he was yelling and screaming and carrying on. And I said, you need to talk to him, or to his department head, and talk to him, and whatever. And so I made up my mind that when I came back, getting short on time here, when I came to work the next day, when I came in, I was going to go directly to the director of security and say, did you whatever. I came in the door of the hospital, punched in the time clock. I didn't even make it up to the 6th floor to the security offices or whatever. And the director of security, I went over and I talked to so-and-so, and I told him security could go any place in this hospital, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, a year or two later, outside, one of the security officers was just trying to rile this guy up and put a ticket on his car. And on the second shift this guy worked, security wouldn't put a ticket on this guy's car. He shouldn't actually parked in that parking spot, but there were plenty of other spots right around there he could have parked, but he really shouldn't, but nobody cared in security. But this other security officer who worked that shift put a ticket on his car and signed my name. So then when I ran into this, this guy, you know, it was like from him, God damn you, you know, blah, 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 blah. And, and he said, and, you know, you were told to stay out of the thing. The you know, the director of security told you. And I said, no, he did not. He said, yes, he did, you know. So now, seeing Trump and knowing the things with this problems that the other guy had and that Donald Trump has, I realized no, the director of security maybe didn't even talk to him, or maybe he did, but whatever. Oh yeah, don't worry, I'll tell Jim to not go. You know, and that's exactly the type of stuff that Donald Trump does. So sometime I don't think I have the ability to do it. But what I'd like to do is spell out, you know, this one guy that I knew really, really well, director of security, and liked. I've admitted here that he gave me great merit reviews. They were correct. I mean, I deserved them. Not because I was smart, but because I did my job and had common sense. And but now I see, and then I think there's some other ones. Yeah, he told me he took care of such and such, the director of security, and I know that he didn't. And so that came as, you know, wow. If I'd have known that, see, I came in that one day, and you know, I wasn't going to yell or scream or anything else. I was just, you know, going to say, did you talk to so-and-so and take care of that? And he said, he right away came up to me, Jim, and, you know, whatever. Turns out, I'm sure now, after all these years, because of Donald Trump, that I know now he didn't do that. And I worked for another director of security that I happen to know did sort of that same thing. I don't think this guy had, I don't think he had, now he was smart, but he was stupid. But I don't think he wasn't in the Donald Trump or this category. He wasn't, I don't think he had that problem. He just had problems with being a decent human being, which he wasn't. But I would like to do, and it may never get done, I'd like to do, okay, because I have an intimate knowledge of that director of security that I worked for. And the way that, and I never did that. There were ways to get around him, and I saw security officers doing that. And maybe other people in the hospital administration or something, or maybe they did it, you know, maybe they did that too. I hope they didn't, because, you know, I didn't do that. I don't think that's the proper way to do, you know, to do things. Also, if you're wondering about the ticket on the car and that kind of stuff, I also didn't stir shit up. Now, some guys, people like to stir crap up, and I don't, you know. There was no reason for me to, you know, like, I'm willing to take blame for something if it's going to settle, you know, unless it causes confusion, you know, unless, you know, I mean, if I have to check something or do something or other, you know, whatever. So, but I'd like to do somehow, and when I do it, I don't even want to name maybe Orange Man. I don't know how I do that, because it's not an attack on Donald Trump, although I hate the guy and I think he's super, super stupid and wow. But I'm not trying to attack him. I'm just trying to understand this. If I had known back in the 1970s that the director of security suffered from whatever he suffered from, I would have just moved on. I was offered some jobs, you know, and security jobs, and one of them would have been really nice, and I was offered the job and I turned it down. That would have been hospital security at a community college, and Johnson County Community College. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please, if you can, use the Amazon link, because it would just put some money if you did. It doesn't cost you anything, and it would just put some money into my account, and then I could buy other stuff, computer stuff. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.